Outdoors with Kevin Outdoors, doing some camping today, and we're going to do a little review on the North Face one bag. Now this is not one bag, it's actually 3 bags in one. I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. Definitely means a lot. If you get anything from this, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, we really appreciate it. It helps the algorithm get it out to more people to support the channel, so we thank you. So let's open this thing up and see what this thing is all about. So when you store these bags and when you get these bags, this one's from REI, it comes in this storage sack. So there's also an actual stuff sack to compress it and make it really small. Not really small, but pretty small. So when you store your sleeping bags, you don't want to store them all compressed. It can affect the down for sure, and also the synthetic, and kind of break it down a little bit faster. So make sure you store this in this stuff sack. So just so you can see here, this is the long version and wraparound zippers. The Phil's 800 Pro Heat Seeker Pro. So this has a down layer and then a synthetic layer, both. So like I said, there's 3 bags in one. So the temperature rating with the lightest coverage is 40 degree temperature outside, 20 degree, and then 5 degree with all 3 combined. So check this thing out. We can pull this open here. And as far as color schemes, I really dig it. I really dig it. So the North Face, one bag, got all of our tags and such here. Okay, so here's the stuff sack, and we'll throw it in here in a minute so you can see that it compresses down to something this size compared to what you saw before was massive. And so we've got three parts to it. So we have this bottom section here, and the bottom section, you can completely take it off with all of these two-way zippers here. So we have synthetic insulation on the bottom. We have this down layer in the middle. This yellow one's the down layer. And then we have the synthetic layer on the outside. So with all 3 layers together, you can go as cold as 5 degrees. Now with the top layer and the bottom layer, where you take out this down layer, then you can go 40 degrees. Or if I want to get rid of the top layer, right, because there's double zippers on everything here. Look at this crazy construction here. I can take just the top layer off and use the down and the bottom and be at 20 degrees. So really, really cool system. Let's open it all up so you can kind of see it taken apart. Okay, so taking the top off. So here it says 800 Pro, but it actually says zip off right here, and it points this direction. So it's got the longer glow-in-the-dark tab, and that's the edge that it takes off at. So let's unzip it and go that direction. I do like the zippers. They don't tend to snag too much. They snag maybe a little bit, but you can see with one good motion, and we're not having really any issues as far as smooth zippers and whatnot. Also, people have asked, what's it with all these zippers? Do you feel like a cold spots? I don't. The way this thing is designed on the inside in here, it's got quite a bit of insulation that's going to cover up over that zipper itself, so no big deal. So we're going to take off just the top section. So now we have one piece here, and we'll lay this all out again. And now I have a down sleeping bag on top, this really cool yellow, and synthetic on the bottom. So remember, it's what's underneath you that keeps and sucks the heat from your body. So having a really good mattress, something with a high R value, which is going to insulate the bottom side of you from the cold ground if you're in a tent. Kind of the advantage of the rooftop tent is I've got the original mattress this thing came with, and then I added a memory foam mattress. So I it feels really nice and comfortable laying on that. So sleeping in a rooftop tent with a nice tent, like a nice sleeping bag like this is perfection. Okay, so if you're doing springtime, right, and you got to decide what temperature you're feeling good with, but theoretically I could take this and throw it in the stuff sack and leave this big stuff sack, the big storage bag. I guess we can just throw it in here and leave this at home, right? And then when I'm on the way to, overlanding, camping, hiking, whatever I'm doing, I can bring my actual small stuff sack and keep just 2 layers with me, right? So also to take off this down layer, it does say zip off and it points arrow that direction. So you always unzip them with this toggle here. And I noticed that the down layer here can get caught in the zipper a little bit easier. So I tend to go a little bit slower when I'm taking this down layer off so I don't get it all snagged up and caught in there. Little storm flap there, this is nice. Keeps the zippers in place. And then voila. So now I have 3 complete separate sections here. I've got the lower section, I've got the middle, this down section, and then I have the top layer, which is the synthetic section. So now, let's say it's more springtime and I want to have it's going to be warmer out, so I don't need it super cold. So we see how easy these things are to put back. So it's all color coded, which is nice. So we go to skip the yellow, we go to the blue, and you zip it up just like you're zipping up a jacket. So it just slides right in there. Keep it taut. And there we go. So smooth. And I like that it has all the temperature ratings right here on each version. So this has it in the blue. So the one bag, it shows you with the blue and the yellow 5 degrees, with the yellow and the bottom 20, and just the blue 40. So right now I'm doing this at the 40 degree, which is, if you think about how cold 40 degrees is, it's not that cold. And this is like excellent. And then all it does is make a sweet looking lightweight bag, and it is so much lighter. Now I got rid of the down. The down seems to be much heavier than this synthetic, and normally down's lighter weight, but it's just so packed full, which is really, really nice. Also a cool feature with this down layer, that it has these 2 buttons here on the side. So I can throw it over my shoulder and wear it like a cape. So it's just draped over me. Now obviously the down is, oh my God, it's toasty warm right now. I feel amazing because it is not warm out, it's wet and rainy. But it's very versatile. So you can kind of see from, it's warm. You can kind of see from how this thing's put together is it's versatile. So is this for everybody? No. Is this for overlanders and car campers and somebody who just needs a quality sleeping bag and wants to stay warm? Maybe your wife is cold like mine all the time, and a sleeping bag like this is perfect for her because it's so warm and nice. And you can make it versatile, right? Take off the down layer and use it in the car as a nice little blanket in the car. Very, very cool feature. So what are the negatives of a bag like this? First thing is cost. So you're talking about a $300 sleeping bag compared to maybe you go on to REI and find maybe a $150 bag and you find it on sale for around $100. So the upfront cost is substantially more, but you got to think about it a couple ways. One, you have 3 bags in one. So you're buying just one bag, right? The one bag. And it's now versatile, especially for storage options. If you don't have a big, huge garage where you can store all your outdoor gear, then maybe it's smarter to buy a bag like this, because now I don't have my cold weather bag, my warm weather bag, and medium weather bag, and so on. So that's something to think about. The next con would be it's bulky and it's not a lightweight sleeping bag. And when I say it's not lightweight, I grew up in the 80s where we had these huge Coleman sleeping bags. They seemed to weigh 40 pounds. Well, maybe not that much, but that's how much it felt like. And you fold them in half once, and then you roll them up, and then it had, you know, those shoestrings that you'd tie on both sides. Some of you, I'm giving you a blast from the past or dating myself, but that's cool. And so something like that, those are massive and huge, where this thing doesn't take up a whole lot of space. In fact, you could put it in the stuff sack that you store it in, put it up above in the closet, put it in one of those Rubbermaid bins and throw it in the garage, keep it airtight, you know, keep the water and moisture out. But it's not a super lightweight bag. So if you're a backpacker and you're throwing on your 60, 80 liter backpack and you're heading off trekking into the woods, maybe this setup is not ideal. Now you can take out one of the layers, like take the down layer out if it's summertime and just use it and it'll compress pretty good. But as far as, there are a lot of lighter weight options that you can choose from. Also, this might be overkill if you're just a casual camper. So if you think about it, if you're gonna go camping maybe 3 times in the summertime, then this might not be the bag for you. It might be a little bit overkill because of the cost and the weight, and it's just, there's a lot going on with it, where you might want something just really simple, like one of those old school Coleman sleeping bags, which they'll work in the summertime. Another thing that I like is that this comes in a long version. So I believe this long version goes up to somebody that's 6'6", and I'm 6'4". My rooftop tent is, I believe, 6'6" or 6'7" in length. So it's awesome that I'm able to have a sleeping bag where I can cinch it up over my head and get inside and I'm snug as a bug in a rug, right? So let's stuff this thing in its stuff sack and give you guys an idea of what it looks like kind of all compressed. So we're gonna throw the down layer back inside so that when we stuff it, you can kind of see what we're working with here. So back to the side where we started here, okay? That's the bottom, let's find the top, okay? And then, man, everything's branded, even the inside is, the down layer is just branded, everything. It's just quality-wise, it's really nice. So I see why it's 300 bucks. You're gonna have this thing for forever. It's gonna probably outlast you, unless you catch it on fire or, you know, you do something crazy with it, right? But, so I just slide in the zipper and we're good to go. So I didn't take off the outer layer, I just unzipped it halfway. But again, as far as speed and quality of the zippers, believe it or not, does make a big difference. So again, I didn't even take the blue layer off, I just put it on the one side, and we're still able to zip this thing up pretty fast, pretty smooth. So it's not a big cumbersome thing, I do like that. And okay, so now we've got the down layer in there, and then we'll cover that up with the synthetic blue layer on the outside and put it all as one, thus one bag. This is not as easy to do sitting down. Okay, so we're all together. Now I grab my stuff sack, and kind of a cool thing about this stuff sack is, well, it's pretty small. It's got the straps. I'll show you how that all works in just a second. But on the inside, it's actually got a fleece section. So let's just say you forgot your pillow. Guilty many, many times. I can take my North Face one bag stuff sack, turn it inside out, grab whatever I have, shirts, coats, whatever, shove it inside here to the hardness that I want, and now I have a nice fleece blanket. How smart is that, right? So very cool. Obviously this is going to be added weight. So again, this is not for, you know, backpackers or ultralight backpackers or thru hikers. This is for camping, right? So now don't get me wrong, you can take this backpacking. You know, depends on, maybe this is one of your comfort items where you're like, yeah, I'm bringing a sweet, sick sleeping bag. I don't care how much it weighs. So anyhow, I'll put all the stats as far as like the 3 bags combined, the weight, the lengths, all that kind of stuff in the description. So make sure you guys check that out. So let's shove this thing in here. Now, again, this is a stuff sack and it's designed to literally just stuff it in there. What you don't want to do is constantly roll these up, because if you roll it up like you're same with your tent, if you put it in the exact same fold every time and you store it in a fold pressed, that there's going to be a seam right there. And eventually that's going to break down the material. It's going to break down for sure the insulation, the down, all that kind of stuff. So when you have a stuff sack, make sure you use it like a stuff sack and stuff it. So you just start cramming it in there. No rhyme or reason how to do it. Probably not a wrong way to do it. I typically like to have the open end, the head end at the top. So as I'm stuffing in, any air that's in the bag is kind of forcing its way out. Not that it's waterproof and gonna store air, but you get the idea. It's just a little easier to stuff. Okay, so get it all crammed in there. And I've got my little toggle. There we go, shove that in there. And then what I like is it has this outer part of the bag. So you can see it's stuffed in there, and then it has this outer section that goes over top and part of the bottom. And I just clip it together here, right there. Get it all nice and good. And then I've got compression straps here to cinch it down. There we go. So the one bag all stuffed down, and let's give you a comparison here. We'll use the iPhone. So iPhone Pro Max, iPhone 16 Pro Max, just to give an idea of size and comparison, right? So 2 iPhones, 2.5 iPhones tall, right? Anyhow, so it's not super small, but it's not massive. So I could stuff this in my sleeping bag or my backpacks that I have. I do have a couple large backpacks. I have an Arc'teryx backpack and an Osprey backpack that are big enough to hold this on the bottom section of the bag. So it's awesome. I'm really happy with it. And one thing that I like about what I do is this is stuff that I use, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion. If I like it, I'll tell you I like it and recommend it. And if it's okay, I'll just tell you it's okay. It's not the best, but this one bag, I've been really happy with it, and I highly recommend it. So take what you want from this video. Hopefully you got a couple little nuggets to kind of influence your purchasing decision, yay or nay. And again, that's why I put these videos together. It's fun to see what's out there as far as gear. It's fun to see what people are using, what people like, how they use it, and we can all kind of learn from each other. So throw in a comment, one thing that you liked from the video, one thing that you didn't like. It's always good to get feedback as the channel grows, and I'm constantly growing and adapting. So really appreciate you guys. Have an awesome day, and we'll catch you on the next video.